Round brush. It's the one that you can spin in your hand. Quick review. Pick out any color you want. Doesn't matter. We're doing this with our round brush. Any color you want, and rub it for a little bit, because you know the more you rub it, the more pigment you get. And what we're going to do is we're going to see what this round brush is capable of. So I want you to make the lightest mark you possibly can. So super delicate, and then go from delicate to smush your brush. So this is as thin as your brush can get. That's as fat as your brush can get. Then after you do that, you probably still have enough color in there. Start making figure 8 or S's up and down to see what happens. When it turns a corner, it may change its thickness. The other thing we can do with this is go ahead and smush it and then let up on it. Smush it, let up on it, smush it, let up on it. This is a great way to make like little petals. You can kind of play around with how hard to smush it and how soft to let up on it. Oh, that one I totally smushed it. Go ahead and clean your brush out when you're done with those. And remember, when you clean it out, roll it around at an angle so you can tell that it's all clean. You're not going to be like that other class period. We won't say names because the GoPro's on. But you guys are going to be better. Okay, so grab the flat brush when you're ready. Again, pick any color you want. Swirl it around for a bit so you get lots of pigment off on it. Now the thing about your flat brush is it has two different sizes going on. One, we're going to go the thick way and do a line and then smush it eventually to see if you can get any thicker. So you're taking your flat brush, you're putting it down the fat way, and then eventually kind of just press down a little harder and see how fat you can get it. Depending on what size brush you got too will depend on how fat that line gets. Then you're going to take your brush and instead of going the fat way, you're going to go the skinny way. We're not going to smush it this way, but just make one continuous line and see how thin you can get with your flat brush. Notice how this line looks a little cleaner. This line with your round brush is not as consistent along the edges as this one, so it's something to take note of. What? This one? I just went like that. Yeah, that's perfect. So like kind of up and down with the paper, just pull on this side. Now just like we made the S's with the round brush, we're going to try that with the flat brush, and it's going to look a little bit different. Hopefully we're still within that top area of our paper and our fold lines. Cool. Go ahead and clean off your brush. Alright, whichever brush is bigger for you. If your flat brush is bigger, use that one. If your round brush is bigger, use that one. So we're going to take one of your squares and we're going to make the whole thing. Woo! I didn't clean my brush off very well. Red it likes to stain stuff. It is a strong color. So make sure that it's off. If your paper towel is already filled up, just flip it over. Use the back side. The tables can get wet. Okay, so go ahead and fill one of your squares with water. You want it to be glossy, just like when we did the wet on wet, but you don't want it to be like a full-on puddle. We're not going to splash in this. We just need it wet. Sorry. It's not splashing time. That's another day where we get to throw watercolor out. That would be fun to make puddles outside with watercolor. And everybody wear white and just... fundraiser for painting class. We could totally make it. They do those runs where people get sprayed with color runs or whatever. Make a puddle run. Okay, you're gonna take one of your blues. So you may have 2 blues in your tray. You may only have 1. And you're gonna do a wash of blue. So grab a bunch of pigment and just pull that over all that water that you just did. Excuse me. If you need more color, just go back and get some. Spread it around so it looks nice and even. And then real quick, after it looks fairly good, you're gonna grab a little bit of paper towel. Whoop. Wad it up and dab it real quick. The quicker you dab it, the more likely you will be to soak it up. And hey, these are like little clouds. Aww. Yay. I'd take clouds over the smoke outside right now. So the faster you are at dabbing it, the more likely it'll pick up. And as you dab it, move your paper towel around so it's clean, so you're not just dabbing blue back on there. Let's say you're painting, don't do this, this is just an example. Let's say you're painting and you're like, oh shoot, I just got a drop of orange there. My day is ruined. Your day is not ruined, it's just a drop of orange. So go in and you just dab it, and it picks it up, kind of like an eraser. So you always want to have paper towels on hand to dab stuff. Now if it dries, then maybe your day's ruined, but as long as you get it before it dries, you should be good. Cool. We're almost done with clouds. When you're done with your clouds, we're gonna do a sunset. So this one has a little bit more instruction. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to use the right side. If you're left-handed, you might want to use the left side. Just makes it easier. Just like we did up above and we got the whole thing wet, do the same thing here. But as you get this wet, don't touch your wetness to that wetness or else it's going to bleed. So give yourself a little space. You want this thing real nice and glossy. But again, we're not jumping in puddles. You guys are awesome at following along. This makes it so these short class periods, we still get just as much done. I was worried. Once you get that this time, and we are going to use the yellow. So like my yellow has a little bit of green in it that I struggled getting out. So I'm just going to use like the edge of the yellow. That way it doesn't turn green on me. And we're going to go down to the bottom of that area we just got wet. And we're going to make a little half circle. And you want to make it a little bit wider than your actual sun is going to be. I'll show you why in a second. Just trust me. So make it a little bit wider. You can make it as bright as you want by adding more pigment to it, or if you want it to be more pastel, just add less pigment. Oh, there's a little hair up in there. We'll get that out. Cool. So my actual sun is going to be about that wide, but I extended it a little bit more. So make your sun a little wider. Change colors, it's okay. Maybe the air's fluid sadly right now, or maybe we're on a different planet and it's a different colored sun. Clean your brush out. There are 2 shades of orange in most of yours. You want to use the lighter of the 2. So mix that around a bit. And we're actually going to go outside the yellow about a ½ inch. And we're going to make that half shape. And then we're going to start doing strokes going into the yellow. It's important that you go into the yellow because right now you've got orange on your brush. You want to keep orange on our brush. But the orange is starting to fade because we're putting orange down. And then as we touch the yellow, it'll be a little bit more faded. And it should mix with the yellow as we kind of go back and forth. If you're going off your page and hitting the table, that's fine. We can wipe down the tables. Not a big deal. And now you should have this nice fade, where one fades into the other. So the magic of the sunset is starting. When you're done with your orange, we're going to do the same thing, but with red. So find your red. There's some of them have pink and some of them have red. You could pick one. It doesn't take much red, so you're not going to have to rub the red that much to get color off on it. You're going to do the same thing you did with the orange. Go a little bit outside your orange. Make that half circle. I want my red just a hair darker, so I'm going to go over it again. And then just keep doing strokes back and forth in kind of a C shape, that half circle shape. And as you go back in, it should start to lighten because you're losing pigment on your paper. And then it should start to mix with the orange. And just go in part way on the orange. You don't have to go all the way in to the yellow. Leave the yellow yellow. I'm doing a couple strokes back and forth just to get it to mix better. Try to just do a couple of those. If you do too many, it'll like rub your paper raw. Alright, now let's do purple. There are two purples in there. I'm going to grab the lighter of the two. It might be more magenta-y looking in yours than mine. So if you still have space, go all the way out to the edge with your purple. Woo, I ran off the edge, that's okay. And then just start going and working in, losing that pigment to the outside, but then blending it. Oh, I ran out of water over here. Blending it once you get in towards the middle. If you were like me and your edges weren't all the way wet, you might need to grab just a tiny bit of water and re-wet them. And then overlap that purple and the red a little bit. You can even rub it a little bit to get the two to blend in a little more. You can do whatever you want for your sky. So if you want to keep going with purple and grab a darker purple, go for it. If you're ready to do dark blue, you can do dark blue too. Just go wider than your last one and slowly start pulling in. Oh, it looks like I got a puddle over here on the left side. That's okay. If you get puddles like that, you can dab them with your paper towel, or you can just let them go and see what happens. That's fine too. Some people are control freaks and they like to dab stuff. Some people have no problem just letting go. So do whatever works for you. Now, lastly, grab the darkest blue you have and go all the way to the edges, trying not to mix in with our nice cloud sky. And then we'll eventually pull this down to the purple. If it blends in, cool. If not, grab a little bit more water so it can. One of my sides is really wet and the other one's really dry. And then that is your sunset. Hey! Are you taking a picture with this? My teacher's a dork.